Welcome, everybody. This is John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Speed Selling. This is the Raging Verbalist number 186. Those of you who are keeping track and keeping count, I want to welcome everybody who's new. Congrats, you have stumbled upon this. So we're on YouTube and Facebook every week. And let me just give you a little bit about what the Raging Verbalist is all about. Talk about all kinds of things that just kind of sit there. Maybe they annoy me, maybe they enlighten you. Who knows where it's going to go? And we pick a topic every week and we do this. Now, to step in for you is the ever lovely Sandra. And Sandra, welcome to Raging Verbalist.
Hello, how are you doing?
Doing great. In fact, I am recording this in the hot place, which is called Palm Springs. And in fact, a roadrunner just ran across, set up just for us. I don't know if that was it's a good luck omen or not, but so yes, doing well. All right. So what is our topic this week? Well, I'm trying to avoid the 111-degree heat out there.
Yikes. All right. So 4-day work week. So what is the 4-day work week?
So there is a movement. Turns out it's a global movement. It's obviously a first world idea, and that is that there's actually a whole website, a whole group of people, and there are actually companies that are thinking of trying this. And what it says at its basic form is you work 32 hours a week. That would be 4 8-hour shifts, but you get paid for 40 hours. And supposedly, remarkably, by doing that, you're going to have increased productivity, happier workers, and get more things done. To which I say, bullshit. I don't necessarily believe that, but we're going to go through that in more detail. And of course, tell me how all that's going to really work in the real world. I always love when they show studies. Frankly, if you're doing that kind of really repetitive work, look out for all of you 4-day workers. AI is coming for you and will probably supplant you. So that way you'll have a no-day work week. How about that?
And why do you think it is so popular as an idea?
Well, who doesn't want to get free beer, free pizza, free donuts, free something? I only have to work 32 hours to get paid for 40. At one point in time, we used to have 6-day work weeks, and that was when people were working 48 hours a week. In fact, people used to work 10-hour days and 12-hour days and all that. But of course, we all got more civilized and productivity went up and all of this other stuff. And, there was a big discussion during the Great Depression that if they just cut back on that extra 8 hours, that we would have full employment. None of those things ever really happened. It was just, another construct, if you will. So, and by the way, the kind of work that people do today is so different than work they did before. Even if you work in a factory, the work has changed dramatically. Things have altered. You may have heard of this thing called technology taking over and what's taking place. So I think it's very popular, and survey after survey, as the proponents of this have pointed out, that people are so much happier by doing this. But my question is are they really getting the stuff done they need to do? I don't ever go to sleep. I'm an entrepreneur. I got multiple businesses. I never go to sleep where I go, wow, everything is done and I'm just coasting into a Friday. No, it doesn't happen. So I have no doubt that people are going to find this an appealing idea. Money for nothing, as Dire Straits said, money for nothing and chicks for free.
And is this a new idea?
Well, it's not a new idea because there's lots of different ideas. In fact, there's lots of companies that have what they call the 9/80, and that is that you work 80 hours over 9 days and you get every other Friday off. And that's a big trend. Again, you're still working the 80 hours. And it seems like that's a good idea. However, there are lots of pitfalls about these other things. There also was a big push at one point in time working 4 10-hour shifts. And people said, well, but there's an exhaustion factor. I know that we are all so very tired out there. That people go, well, you can't do that. Well, okay, yeah, maybe productivity drops off. All I'm going to tell you is again, the nature of work, all work is going to continue to change. Now, it used to be why don't they do this in a place like where Sandra hails from Nebraska? Why don't we just have we'll just tend to the farm 4 days a week, and they'll those animals know how to take care of themselves the other 3 days, right, Sandra? I mean, wouldn't that work out just great?
Not exactly.
And of course, you don't have to get up early to take care of these animals or stay up late or do anything like that. No, no, you could just just kind of throw a bag of food out there and it's all going to be okay. So yeah, so we've tried. There are 4 10s. In fact, at one point in time, there was a discussion about having 3 12-hour shifts. I do agree that people can burn themselves out. Mostly, it's just if you're doing something physical, you're going to get tired. You're going to have less energy. But that never took off. So yeah, we've had a lot of different schemes over the years, but all of it has always been towards we have more leisure time as a society than ever before. Even though if you say this to Europeans, and obviously this is YouTube, it goes out all over the world, and I'm sure there are people in Europe who are looking at me right now going, "What is wrong with this guy? Because does this guy understand that we have to have a life balance?" Well, productive people, they keep doing things, they keep working on things, they keep saying, well, there isn't this segmentation as much as there was other places, other ways. So yes, we've tried it before.
And what are the downsides of this scheme?
Well, I think the biggest downside of it is that if you own a business and you have people who are going to work only 4 days a week, how do you explain to your customers? So here's the clash, here's the conflict that's inherent in this. We now have trained an entire society, soon a globe, that you can shop 24 hours a day. I can be sitting there waiting in line to do something or and I can buy something on Amazon. And the last thing I want to do is wait lots of time for this. In fact, for those of us who are not going to deliver as fast as Amazon, people are they're out of their minds. They get crazy about this. Why isn't it delivered yet? What is going on? So my question is on the customer service side, for all those people who love this, and now you have 3 days off. What if everybody else has 3 days off? And now you have that Friday off, and who are you going to call to get customer service? And of course, what it is that it's for this society, we have that time off, but they have the call center, overseas or out of the country, and those people are going to be there. We're going to go talk to them. And since we're going to go talk to them, well, all right, then we're going to do that. So I think the customer service, does that mean that all the pilots should not work on a Friday? Oh, hey, maybe that's a good idea. So that way on a Friday afternoon, and considering that traveling has gotten to be where people are more bitchy than ever, they talk about this. So I think the downside is customer service. And I think the fallacy is that we do work in this compartmentalized way. Last thing I want to do is call up and have somebody go, well, you got to talk to, Charlie or Sally or whoever. And well, they're not here today because they're off. They're on their 4-day work week. Lots of luck. Pissed off customers. Customers' expectations, by the way, are going up, not down. My belief is that the clash between these two ideas is going to be its own little storm in and of itself. Now, you got to make sure your business is going to make it. So I've got something for you for that. And that is, you want to go check out my book. Most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. It just takes them 3 to 5 years to realize it. Position to Win. You can go to positiontowinbook.com, positiontowinbook.com. Go check it out there. Lots of cool free stuff there. Also, you can go to Amazon and Barnes & Noble and Books A Million. You can get the physical book, and you can also get it digitally, Kindle, Nook, and Apple iBooks. If you want to know about how to do remote work better, which is really what people should be thinking about, is more flexible work schedules, then go pick up Remote Work for a Better World and go do that exclusively on the Amazon Kindle platform. So all I can say is that if you're going to go out there and do this, think about how you're going to take care of your customers. All right, Sandra, what's the next question?
And does the 4-day work week conflict with the gig economy?
Well, I think it conflicts with the gig economy because one of the coolest things about the gig economy, having been a user and a user like, oh my God, he's back, he's off the wagon or something. No, but having been a customer of things like Uber and Lyft and other services like that, is that the gig economy. I was sitting there talking to somebody who had been an Uber driver, a guy who got me to the airport recently, and this guy had been driving for them for like 9 years. I mean, usually you don't have somebody, and had thousands and thousands of rides. And as I talked to him and I said, wait a second, so this is your only gig? He goes, yeah. And he had a strategy and how he did it, but he literally, maps out when are the best times to drive, how he drives, what's going to take place. And the conflict of it is that, once again, the gig economy is all about ultimate flexibility. You, as the supplier of the labor and the effort and what you're going to do, and the requirements of people who need what they're going to need, and those things come together. To me, that is much more likely to take place than this kooky idea that you work 32 and you get paid for 40. All I can say is I'm a free market capitalist. If people want to do that, great. I don't want to pay a premium for people who aren't working. And more importantly, if somebody's really good, we need people who are going to be working and doing what they're supposed to do. If you have a talent, you have a capability, you have something you can do, you want to make sure that you do it as best you possibly can, as all the times you possibly can, and not slough this off, because we need your productivity. So yes, I think it conflicts with the gig economy in a big way.
And what are some of the roadblocks to getting the 4-day work week?
Well, I think one of the biggest roadblocks is just economics. But I'll just go back to, in 1984, I was in I was in the LA area, and they had the Olympics. And what happened is that the Olympic guys figured out how to get this thing organized, and they had major companies that were going to put people on split shifts and different shifts, and they altered that, and the traffic was amazingly good. And in fact, they had to kind of suspend some of the rules, because in California, if you work over so many hours a day, over 8 hours a day, it's considered overtime. Most states, it's over 40 hours. So there was this whole issue that went on, and they had that only in place during the Olympics. And once the Olympics were over, bang, we were back to the other way. Traffic is jammed, things are snarled. So I think one of the roadblocks is that, the economy is going to have to be flexed, because if it's not flexed, where are we going to go?
And how does this affect the productivity of sales professionals?
Well, I think how it affects I think what happens to sales professionals is that, you've got to call people when they're there. You've got to go see people when they're there. I've seen enough salespeople who find excuses on top of excuses on top of alibis of not going out and selling. To me, the best time to sell is when you're in front of a customer, or talking to a customer, or engaging with a customer. And the more gaps you have, the more difficult it is to get a hold of people. Right now, people hide behind voicemail, they hide behind email, they hide behind whatever, and then, just trying to get a hold of people. And anything that slows this productivity down is a bad idea. If you're in sales, do not expect that you're going to have I'm going to get paid for 40 for working 32. If you're able, my statement was always, if you could live off your base, I don't want you as a salesperson. I want you to be hungry. I want you to go out there and work and sell and do commissions. There was a guy named Paul who sold big rig trucks, and he had convinced himself after many decades that he could never sell a truck on Friday. So literally, he would show up every Friday, meet with the boys, drink some coffee, smoke some cigarettes. They'd go out to an early lunch. They'd come back. They'd dawdle around with a little paperwork, and then they would call it a day and go home. I don't know how many sales they probably lost, because there were probably people who would have purchased the truck on Friday, but they weren't there.
And how can entrepreneurs use this to their advantage and avoid pitfalls?
Well, the first thing you want to do is, if you're going to decide on this, make sure that you understand that you're paying a premium for their labor. So people have to be ultra competitive. And I can tell you from my experience is that forcing ultra competitive or ultra, it's not compliance. It's really, getting things done, getting intensely out there and doing, it's completion of tasks. you're going to run into where people are going to get burned out, even if it's only 32 hours a week, because you're going to say, listen, no time for chit chat, time to get on with it. Got to work, got to work, got to work, got to work. People don't like that. Right now, it sounds good because, of course, people are going to kind of slough off. Wait for AI. AI is going to push this thing to the limit, and we're going to see what's going to happen. Entrepreneurs, beware, be careful. By the way, if anytime you're going to interview somebody and you don't have a 4-day work week and you have somebody who's infected with this virus and they say, well, maybe we should have a 4-day work week, don't hire them, don't bring them. Be careful, because they will, in fact, change the market and change what you're dealing with and all the people you've got. And with that, I'm going to say, make sure that whoever you hire, you want them motivated, you want them ambitious, and you want them to make commitments and keep commitments. And if you do all that, you may make it out of this with a successful business and move forward. And with that, all I can say is, from this very hot spot of 111 degrees here in Palm Springs, I wish all of you a great and wonderful week. Go out there and be very productive, be very successful. And for myself, John Paul Monderchi, Dr. Street Selling, and the ever lovely Sandra, this has been the Raging Verbalist number 186.